चामल ज्ञान पाए ज्ञान नै रोज्ने नयाँ गुड नाइट फ्ल्याश अरु लिक्विड वेपोराइजर भन्दा 2 गुणा बढी प्रभावशाली.
Proud to be associated with Kantipur News.
Good evening, I am April Agising Lama and these are the headlines of the hour. Sagarmatha Samvad concludes with the issuance of a 25-point declaration and global climate appeal. Nepal to host the second edition of the dialogue in 2027. Frequent power cuts raise public concern over possible return of load shedding. Industrialists and lawmakers question electricity supply as authority cites distribution issues. At least 125 Palestinians killed by Israeli airstrikes across the Gaza Strip overnight. Mediators host a new round of ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas. And Nepal to face UAE tomorrow in the Super 3 of the ICC Women's T20 World Cup Asia region qualifiers. A single victory for Nepal to determine spot in the global qualifiers. The three-day dialogue Sagarmatha Samvad concluded today with the release of the 25-point Sagarmatha call for action. Although a declaration was initially promised, it ultimately took the form of a commitment letter urging all countries to work together. The dialogue saw extensive discussions on addressing climate-related impacts and risks, with Nepal also taking the opportunity to bring its climate concerns to the global stage. However, questions remain about how the international community will respond to the commitment letter. Nepal has been actively voicing concern over the rapidly accelerating melting of the Himalayas. The Sagarmatha Samvad has highlighted Nepal's advocacy for linking the Himalayas with global ocean health. At the same time, Nepal has urged the international community to prioritize the protection of snow, forests, wildlife and biodiversity, stressing the need to ensure long-term benefits from these natural resources. Additionally, Nepal has called for the establishment of a dedicated fund for the conservation of mountain regions, a proposal which was also echoed by the president of COP29.
पर्वतीय क्षेत्र संरक्षणको लागि विशेष किसिमको कोष स्थापना गरौँ भन्ने कुरा आएको छ। तपाईले आबुधाबीको यो विदेश मन्त्रीले भनेको कुराहरू सुन्नुस् अथवा भारतको मन्त्रीले भनेको कुरा सुन्नुस् अथवा COP29 को प्रेसिडेन्टले भनेको कुरा सुन्नुभयो भने यो क्षेत्रलाई पर्वतीय क्षेत्रलाई एउटा विशेष कार्यक्रमका साथ जानुपर्छ भन्ने कुरामा अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय रूपमा पनि आएको छ।
While the government has released a 25-point declaration, questions have been raised about how it will be received globally. Experts emphasize that Nepal must continue to highlight these issues in international forums and ensure they remain a priority on the global agenda.
नेपालले यो कागज बोकेर विभिन्न राष्ट्रिय अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय मञ्चमा जान सक्छ र यो एउटा मेरो मात्र हैन है, यो संसारका विभिन्न कन्टिनेन्टका निजी क्षेत्र, नागरिक समाज, थिंक टैंक, एकेडेमिया र विभिन्न सरकारका प्रतिनिधि एक्सपर्टहरूको बीचमा भएको छलफल अन्तर्क्रियाबाट आएको आउटकम डकुमेन्ट हो र इट हैज लेजिटिमेसी एन्ड प्लिज लिसन व्हाट वी हैव टु से भनेर भन्न सक्नुपर्छ।
यो डिक्लेरेसन चाहिँ अब सबै चाहिँ पार्टिसिपेट गर्ने देशहरूको चाहिँ जो अब सरकारबाट चाहिँ प्रतिनिधि गरेर आउनु भएको छ उहाँहरूको सबैको साझा धारणा भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अझै त्यसमा अलिकति चाहिँ अब मध्यमार्गी जस्तो देखिन्छ हैन। तथापि तर हामीले उठाउनु पर्ने कुराहरू जस्तो जलवायु परिवर्तनले पारेका समस्या समाधान गर्नको लागि चाहिँ अब जुन रूपमा हामीलाई रिसोर्स चाहिन्छ त्यो रिसोर्स जो गर्नको लागि चाहिँ यो चाहिँ घोषणापत्रले चाहिँ अलिकति आह्वान गरेको छ।
कम्युनिटीबाट पनि केही रिप्रेजेन्टेटिभहरु चाहिँ हुनुहुन्थ्यो र यो विषयमा चाहिँ निकै नै राम्रो छलफल पनि भयो र डिक्लेरेसनमा पनि हाम्रो यी समुदायहरुबाट चाहिँ पार्टिसिपेसन चाहिँ अझै फोस्टर गरिन पर्छ है भन्ने कुराहरू चाहिँ आएको छ। तर यो यी कुराहरू हुँदै पनि यदि हामी यो जलवायु परिवर्तनको जुन इम्प्याक्टको कुरा गर्छौं जो उहाँहरूले भोगिरहनु भएका समस्याहरू छन् यो समस्याहरूलाई चाहिँ अझै पनि धेरै ठाउँमा सम्बोधन हुन एकदमै धेरै इम्पोर्टेन्ट छ।
However, the Ministry of Forests and Environment has insisted that there will be no delay in its implementation as the climate-related impacts that Nepal is facing and the world has come together in a common effort to prevent them.
कसरी माउन्टेनलाई ओसनसँग जोडेर यो इन्टरकनेक्टिभिटी अथवा अन्तर सम्बन्ध कसरी देखाउन सकिन्छ भन्ने विषयमै छलफलहरू भएका थिए र यसलाई चाहिँ हामीले बुदागत रूपमै त्यहाँ समेटेका छौं र आगामी दिनमा यसैलाई आधार मानेर अगाडि बढ्ने भन्ने चाहिँ हाम्रो कल फर द एक्सनमा रहेको छ।
Although the Sagarmatha Sambad, which is an ambitious program of the government, was successfully completed, there are challenges in implementing its decisions. The failure of any head of state to attend the event and the absence of guests from neighboring India and China as expected have raised doubts as to whether the Sagarmatha Sambad will be a dialogue only for Nepal. Sanjay Luitel on the camera, a report by Bikas Acharya.
Climate ambassador and advisor at Tuvalu's Ministry of Home Affairs, Ian Fry, attended the Sagarmatha Sambad in Nepal. He highlighted the vulnerabilities between Nepal and small island nations like Tuvalu, both least developed countries which face severe climate impacts. Fry emphasized the connection between melting glaciers and rising sea levels, pointing to urgent risks faced by mountain and island communities.
Well, I've come here to represent small island states. I'm from the government of Tuvalu, a small Pacific island country. And it was clear that we needed to make the connection between melting glaciers and sea level rise. And that was the message that I was trying to bring across, and also to work out how we could collaborate, because what happens in the mountains affects us in the low-lying countries. So we need to work together. We've collaborated. Tuvalu is the least developed country, and so is Nepal, so we've done a lot of collaboration there. So this meeting was important to build that collaboration and identify the impacts of climate change that are occurring here with the impacts of climate change that are occurring in small island states. Well, I was presenting at a panel here, and I was saying we need to form a group, glaciers to the sea group, as a collective group to lobby, to attend climate change meetings and be a strong voice for the most vulnerable. And I think that's a crucial connection that we can do and make out of this process. Well, I hope that we will be able to take some of the recommendations that have come out of this conference and build on those, particularly around collaboration, because I think that's crucial. I mean, both Nepal and Tuvalu are graduating from LDC status, so we've got to find a way to work together. I think this is a good step, and I think there will be useful recommendations coming out of this Sambad that will take that forward.
The government's decision to change the leadership of the Nepal Electricity Authority (NEA) following recurring power outages has drawn criticism in Parliament. In response to an lawmakers' inquiry about a possible return of the load shedding, the NEA stated that despite adequate power supply, distribution line issues have hindered effective delivery. The frequent outages have disrupted both public life and industrial operations.
With the rise in summer temperatures, both the public and lawmakers have begun questioning the current leadership of the Nepal Electricity Authority. Following the replacement of Kulman Ghising with Hitendra Dev Shakya, many believe power outages have worsened. During Sunday's House of Representatives session, some lawmakers attributed the current situation to Ghising's removal, while others voiced concerns over a potential return of load shedding.
आज यी यस्ता असल कर्मचारीहरूमाथि जुन प्रहार गरियो यसले एउटा पार्टीको कारणले यो गलत हो।
त्यसो भएको हुनाले म सभामुखज्यू मार्फत हामीले फेरि जेनेरेटर किन्नुपर्ने, इन्भर्टर राख्नुपर्ने, मैनबत्ती साँच्नुपर्ने स्थिति बनेको हो।
Amid repeated power outages, the Nepal Electricity Authority has sought to reassure the public that the issue is not load shedding but stems from distribution system faults. Recent disruptions have been attributed to storm damage and a malfunction last Thursday in the Dhalke Bazar, Muzaffarpur transmission line, which supplies electricity from India.
ढल्केबाट मुजफ्फरपुरको एउटा तार पनि त्यस्तै गरेर धेरै हावाहुरीले एक तारले अर्को तारलाई छोयो हैन। यस्ता घटनाहरू साधारणतया हुँदैनन्। अब यो समस्या चाहिँ यस्तो बेलामा मैले गर्दाखेरि हुने अर्कोले गर्दा नहुने भन्ने कुरा हुँदैन।
Shakya stated that the transfer of certain employee following Ghising's departure has had no impact. He also replaced the head of the load dispatch center. Frequent power outages have affected not only the general public but also industrialists.
उद्योगहरूमा एक हिसाबले आजको दिनमा पनि 8 घण्टादेखि 12 घण्टासम्म फर्मल इन्फर्मली रूपमा जुन घोषित अघोषित जे भने पनि लोड सेडिङ छँदैछ सुखायाममा। टिपिङको कारणले गर्दा उद्योगको जुन सञ्चालन दैनिक सञ्चालनमा यो लस अथवा इफिसियन्सीमा ह्रास आउनु, यो नियमित प्रोसेसमा डिस्टर्बेन्स हुनु, मिसिनका पार्ट पुर्जा बिग्रिनु।
Power outages have not increased compared to last year as per the NEA's data. There were 66 incidents in the previous fiscal year, while 50 have occurred as of May 16 this year. Current peak electricity demand stands at 2,150 megawatt, with domestic generation at 1,700 megawatt. Despite importing 55 megawatt from India, the shortfall has led to a reduction of approximately 400 megawatt in industrial supply.
It is time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
But before that, let's take a look at yesterday's poll. Yesterday we had asked you, why is the main opposition leader Pushpa Kamal Dahal once again embarking on a journey focused on the Mid-Hill Highway? 22% voted for A, to assess public opinion, 40% B, to pacify cadres, 35% C, using free time, and 3% D, prefer not to comment. Now here's today's question. What might explain the frequent power interruptions despite Nepal Electricity Authority claiming it is not load shedding? Your options are A, technical malfunction, B, an issue seen under new leadership, C, overstated public claims, or D, no idea. The voting is on. Visit www.kantipurtv.com or www.ekantipur.com to share your opinion with us. Welcome back. Police have arrested an individual with 7.5 kilos of illegal gold at the Raswagari checkpoint. The gold was seized from a container entering Kathmandu from Kerung via the Raswagari border crossing. Deputy Superintendent of Police Hem Bahadur Sai from the District Police Office, Raswas, said that 7.5 kilos of gold were recovered during an inspection after suspicions arose that the container carrying apples had a false bottom. The gold was found this afternoon inside the container. The driver, identified as Kishore Bhuzel from Gosaikunda Rural Municipality, has been taken into custody, and further investigation is underway to determine the source and ownership of the gold. Now, in our Public Voice segment, we have asked in several provinces, why do you think Nepali Congress and UML are trading barbs despite being allies? Let's take a look at what they had to say.
यसैको प्रभाव हो यिनीहरुको सिद्धान्त एउटा चाहिँ सत्ता र सिटको लागि चाहिँ बसेका छन् सबै कुरा सिरो पार गरेर मान्न पर्दा पनि केही न केही अहिलेको पुस्ताले चाहिँ सकेसम्म चाहिँ आफ्नो तर्क चाहिँ राख्न डराउनु हुँदैन त्यही भइरहेको एकले अर्कालाई विश्वास नगरेको अवस्था पनि हो र पार्टी भित्रको एउटा मेच्युरिटी नभएको पनि हो दुईवटा दल चाहिँ बराबर भएको हिसाबले पनि हुन सक्छ किनकि त्यो भन्दा म चाहिँ कम छैन है भन्ने कुराहरु पनि हुन सक्छ एकले अर्कालाई घोच्याउने अनि आफू चाहिँ राम्रो हुन खोजेको मन्त्रीहरु काम बाँडेको काममा पनि हस्तक्षेप प्रधानमन्त्रीले गरेपछि त्यसै कारणले गर्दा चाहिँ मनमुटाव भएको हो राम्रो शासन दिन भन्दा पनि उनीहरुको आफ्नो स्वार्थ पूर्ति गर्नु थियो दुवै पार्टीको आफ्नो स्वार्थले गर्दा यो गठबन्धनमा अलिकति तगारता आएको देखिन्छ भागभण्डामा नमिलेको हुन सक्छ मेजर पोलिटिकल पार्टी भएका कारणले पोलिटिकल इन्ट्रेस्टमा कन्फ्लिक्ट भइरहेछ
Sports News.
Nepal will face the UAE tomorrow in the Super 3 of the ICC Women's T20 World Cup Asia Region qualifiers. A single victory will secure Nepal's spot in the global qualifiers. If Nepal defeats the UAE tomorrow, it will secure a spot in the global qualifiers of the ICC Women's T20 World Cup. This marks a significant opportunity for Nepal, which has never reached the global qualifiers before. Both Nepal and UAE advanced to the Super 3 of the Asia region qualifiers by winning their respective groups, with Thailand also advancing. In today's match, UAE was defeated by 54 runs by Thailand. Tomorrow, UAE will face Nepal in a decisive match. A victory for Nepal will grant them advancement to the global qualifiers, one match ahead of schedule. In the previous Asia qualifiers, rain interrupted the match between Nepal and UAE, resulting in Nepal's elimination and UAE's progression to the global qualifiers. Over the last 5 encounters, Nepal has won 2 matches. UAE won with 1 match unfinished and another cancelled due to rain. With rain again expected tomorrow, the match may be impacted.